aren't expecting special forces. That's the point, Sergeant.
Transmit the clearance codes for Inferno Squad Chatter, an exclusive look into the Southwest Star Wars Legion community.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the Inferno Squad Chatter. My name is Collin. I'll be the host for today's episode. Joining me today, we got Zafar.
Hello.
Inferno Squad's leader, Tristan. And we have a returning guest with us today. Sam, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. I've not been granted the rank of caster, but I'm here. 6 episodes, 6th movie. It works out.
Yeah, right.
Oh, my joke.
Fair?
All right.
Does it feel fair?
No, it doesn't.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. We have awesome topics lined up for today's discussion. Our topics for the episode are going to be more focused around upcoming releases. So that'll be Upgrade Pack 2, Jedi Council, and some Rocket B2 speculation. We are not deep diving into every single upgrade that these offer. We're just kind of giving our likes, dislikes, vibes, a little bit of competitive sprinkle in there, but this isn't a competitive talk. So if we're all ready to get talking about all these cool upgrades that AMG gave us, then we can get started.
Can we actually really quick before we dive into that, can we just talk about what happened at Gen Con?
Oh yeah, so yeah, Gen Con, they showed off the awesome X-Wing sculpt for the upcoming flyers, which the X-Wing I think is slated for the beginning of 2027. So that'll be super cool. They also gave us a little bit of insight as to how they kind of work on the interview that Grey Squadron Gaming had with them. So if you haven't seen that yet, highly recommend it. Will Schick also kind of dropped a little bit of a hint as well in that interview, saying that apparently he claims that the next preview at Adepticon in 2027 will be even greater than Mando's. So what do you guys think that might be?
Was it greater or bigger?
He said it would top the Mando announcement.
So it's not a size joke.
Okay.
Like a lot of people are saying Gungans, but I'm not certain if Gungans actually are going to get an army. I'm hoping for the droid army, like Hug Cartels and the droid army.
Okay. What about you, Tristan?
So for me, the way that I interpret that is, as far as size and popularity, I don't think some of the like the huts and everything like that just doesn't feel like a big impact. And I feel like this is probably the wrong direction, even Gungan. But I feel like sequel trilogy, even though I'm a big advocate of there's not enough there in those armies to make full-size armies. But I feel like to me, that's the only way that you really open up some significant factions in here.
Well, did they specify it was a Legion spoiler?
From what I got, it sounded like it was probably going to be something Legion related, yeah.
Okay. Because
So
if that's the case, my guess, I mean, I was also thinking First Order, like, Kylo Ren getting a miniature in Legion. Amazing. But if I had to say, oh, they're making this really cool new big thing, I think maybe Adepticon next year is when they actually drop or announce the full-scale war, like officially, expansion pack, whatever, where it's like full new game mode, new way of playing the game. To me, that is bigger than any individual army, faction, or battle force.
yeah, I can see that. I had two speculations aside from like the Hut Clans. That was one that I was like, oh, that'd be pretty cool if they did like some of the Hut Clan stuff. But one thing I'm thinking of is like Night Sisters, like Mother Talzin and the Night Sisters, and having like a Night Sister Asajj, Savage type stuff, Maul, and then the other one that I was thinking of was maybe like some Knights of the Old Republic stuff.
Oh,
They have Legend stuff in Star Wars Unlimited.
So
if I can play Havoc Squad,
Darth Revan.
Honestly though,
We got Mandos.
Yeah, but Havoc Squad from those trailers, I got a soft spot for Havoc Squad.
But yeah, so super awesome, something to look forward to next year. I mean, AMG has been giving us heater after heater this year because they have so much freedom now that they're caught up on all the repackagings and releases that they've been working on for the last couple of years that they can kind of just like drop stuff on us willy-nilly now. So that's going to be super cool. But let's go ahead and transition over to talking about Upgrade Pack 2, which is going to come out mid-August. So, and maybe by the time this episode airs, it'll have already come out. But we're going to kind of just give our thoughts about it. So, aside from the obvious elephant in the room on Upgrade Pack 2, how does everyone kind of feel about the pack in general? Do you guys think it's like too weak, too strong, just right? So, Tristan, how about you start us off with your...
I really like a lot of the mechanics that they played with. The upgrading and downgrading dice, I think, is a really cool space that they're exploring. I think a lot of these upgrades are well priced, and I think they're really cool as a lot of one shots, and really, again, a lot of flavor in it. My one note that I will come down on is that I really like the mechanic of having to decide what's with Master of the Force. I thought that was, as someone who played a lot of Opera Luke, I really liked the decision making process of like, what do I recover? And to me, these force powers that recover themselves, I think it's unfortunate that they kind of make it easy mode like that, and I sort of that's my one sort of downside note. But otherwise, I really like a lot of these powers, and I think a lot of them they, like I said, they add a great flavor, so I'm excited.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe they'll change how Master of the Force works down the line and just like errata a bunch of these old force powers that we had to just untap themselves now at the, beginning or end of the user's activation.
Yeah,
But,
maybe maybe it's something even like hey, you get to, there's maybe a better way to use the power twice a turn, like something along those lines.
What about you, Sam? What do you think about this new upgrade pack?
I like it. I think I want to say most of the points are fine. I mean, obviously you have fire control, which by itself makes the points for the other cards seem a little questionable. But if you pretend fire control doesn't exist, then I think everything seems fine. Some of the force powers readying themselves, kind of tying to what Tristan said, makes sense, right? Like force. Is a force absorb? Is that the worst barrier?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the barrier light.
Yeah. So barrier light, that one makes sense. Like if you have Master of the Force, you can get the better version. You can still untap it for free. Force Absorb is the worst version, untaps itself, or you run both. So I think ones like that where they're like a worse version of a pre-existing one makes sense that they untap. But like Battle Mind, I like Battle Mind a lot if you pretend Fire Control isn't real. Actually, even with Fire Control being real, Battle Mind still helps. You can buff yourself. You can buff melee, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just attacking. So it's less restrictive. But like it untaps itself, but it's also only once per, well, I guess twice per turn sometimes. I think most of the points are fine. I think as a Republic player, all these lighter force powers that I can put on the operative Jedi, super cool. Because those guys kind of felt a little weird. Like, did I really want to put super expensive force powers on a cheap Jedi? Not really, but I'd chuck Force Absorb on them to add some extra defense for like a Wookiee, or I mean, I don't know, Helping Hand to give arcs their jetpacks back and a dodge. I mean, that's pretty cool. So
Helping Hand seems it could be a pretty strong
Helping Hand seems kind of snazzy, yeah.
That was the upgrade I was going to talk about.
Oh well, you can talk more.
So
I like that one. I also like is it Strong in the Force? Strong in the Force seems super useful, especially on like Ahsoka, who already kind of wants to independent sometimes. Now she can recover and get Dodger and aim. Pretty chill. Anyway, sorry, Zafar.
I mean, it was your turn. I was interrupting, but thematically, I think Helping Hand is such a really cool ability. Just being able to give 5 jumps over the course of a game when you need it. It allows you to play with such more dynamic tables because it allows you to have more line of sight blocking stuff. And you go, all right, just launch the squad over this building. Let's go. Right behind the area trade, and now you're over it and you're going. I think that it really expands what area you get to use of the table. And while it's cool that, like Sam said, giving a unit its jetpacks back, but having the flexibility of just being anybody within a certain range, just getting that buff once per round, It allows you to extend the support bubble in a way that, oh, I'm needed on this flank. Let me double, I'm going to move over to this side and help this squad on their next activation, and then double back around to this side where you can really ping pong across the table and extend your usage as a support piece. So honestly, I think that Helping Hand, and obviously anything that upgrades dice, right? Like anything that is hiding aim tokens in plain sight is just hard to argue with Battle Mind. And I think the templating they did on Battle Mind and Helping Hand, actually, the reason I picked them both is their templating of these powers allows you to put it on people without Master of the Force, without feeling like you just get a one-time use or you have to take recover actions. But also, it keeps it from being abused in situations because they just kind of ready themselves. If you want to waste a recover to get an extra use out of it, you have the ability to do so. But maybe it's not the best course of action.
Well, it wouldn't make sense to recover, right? Since it'll ready itself at your activation.
If it's like, for example, Battle Mind, you can recover, use it on your attack, and then it gets itself
Okay.
back. But I'm just saying that's like a weird, or you have an upgrade card or a command card that recovers you. Like for example, Veers with Vader, you give Vader an order that gives him to recover, so he gets his Battle Mind back. We're not saying you're going to give Battle Mind. That's just a hypothetical.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Like Ahsoka could, I'm just gonna use her because independent. She could use it on her turn, ready it, use it on another unit when they attack during that same round. Then her turn comes around, free recover, do it again on her turn, get it back. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think, in my personal opinion, aside from maybe when battle forces were first introduced into this game, I think this is the biggest shakeup in the game that we've seen in a long time.
Agreed.
Just this pack alone. Like, there's the amount of options that this pack gives to armies, and we'll talk about more like targeted upgrades later, but just so much versatility in this pack, and the fact that they really hammered down on trying to help out those force users that don't have Master of the Force, or they made some of these force powers with specific force users in mind that just kind of boosts them up and like helps them out. I think this was a very, very good pack.
Actually,
So
if I
since
can add to that real quick, sorry, Colin.
Yeah, no, go
I was
for it.
gonna say it's such a good shakeup because one thing I always think AMG is really good at is giving players the ability to express themselves with their list building and giving this variety of cards where you can play to your expressive style in a way that someone else might not have. I think this is what's going to really push the game more away from that competitive scene and more towards the I want to play what I like, and these upgrades let me do that even more.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But yeah, I know we're all already talking about the new force powers and how cool a lot of them are. So I kind of wanted to pick everyone's brains. Like, what are your favorite couple like new force powers, and how would you how would you apply them in your lists and with your play? So, Zephyr, since you were literally just talking about like Battle Mind and Helping Hand, how would you apply those?
Okay, so obviously their light side force powers, or at least a helping hand is, right? And I don't play light side force users, so I can
Yes.
only imagine what it would look like when my opponent is using them against me. And I'm just picturing like an op Luke near a Cassian fleet squad that basically double moved, or even a sleeper squad that double moved and hit on turn one, and then on turn two they just come flying out from behind a building and just launch into my line and alpha something down without having exposed themselves to any kind of retaliation or fire. And obviously, Battle Mind. Look, I know we're gonna talk about fire control later, so I think we can just save Battle Mind for that conversation. I am super personally very excited about Despair. I am a sucker for suppression crap, as you all know, and and Despair just going in and like, oh, I hit this guy in melee and everyone else got scared around me is just such a flavorful mechanic of I'm just envisioning the Darth Vader hall scene and all these fleet troopers losing their minds because like the literal avatar of death is walking down the hallway towards them. And like it just gives me the warm fuzzies.
Yeah, yeah, it's a super interesting upgrade for sure. I don't know off the top of my head yet who really likes it and who doesn't, but we'll definitely have to see how it works out. So, Sam,
And
what about you?
I mean, there's
downgrading a defense die is pretty solid.
dirty.
It's like half a
Yeah.
Pierce.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't play dark side force users, but there's the easy gimme. I mean, hatred and maul seems pretty self-explanatory.
Hatred on
I don't.
Maul, hatred on
Yeah,
Savage, hatred on Fifth Brother. Like, there's
hatred on
this.
everybody except for Vader, pretty much.
I don't think Ventress wants it because I think
That's
she's just
right.
she's way too of a missile on her own anyway. But just being able to like self-inflict to be able to activate Juyo without having to waste your one pip, being able to activate that in Rage right away on Fifth Brother or Savage when Savage comes out. Because, there was always the meme with Fifth Brother, like, oh, you just don't shoot Fifth Brother and then he's like super useless. But
Yep.
now, Fifth Brother can just be like, nah, I'm coming for you.
Yep.
I do like Zephyr said, we're gonna talk about Battle Mind later. I do like Force Absorb just for being a cheaper barrier. And I haven't been able to run this yet because I've been trying to prep for our next major tournament with my already subpar list. I gotta get the reps in, so I'm not just bad at it. But you can get on one of the customizable Jedi generals. You can get Battle Mind, Barrier, Absorb, and Saber Throw all in the same Jedi, and like you will have those available every single turn because you have Master of the Force, and you can just set up walls of the Force and just stop all the lasers, still throw your saber around, and still have charge from a double blade lightsaber. Like, is it good? No, but it's cool. So going back to what Zephyr is saying about this card pack letting you play what you want to play. I mean, you can make a real cool support Jedi that still can charge and gets all their force powers back. That's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. What about you, Tristan?
I think force agility is not is sort of being slept on. I've heard people kind of come down on it. Again, as somebody who played a lot of Jedi Knight, disengage is really strong, even if it is a one shot. The idea of this can effectively act as a poor man's force push. I'm pretty excited about that. Um, I'll admit, I get it's probably too expensive, but the effects of force drain to me are really strong, and especially like I automatically thought of Vader, and I thought about the idea of just Vader being a tank and taking wounds, but also just sitting there and dealing poison, pushing immobilize. Like I think force drain. I understand people are coming down on points, but I think it has some really potentially strong effects with Vader. I'm pretty excited about in the sense of like I think it's worth exploring. I don't play a lot of Vader, so I don't necessarily know when I would like bring that out, but I do like it.
Kind of tied to price, if you don't mind me asking a question. What are your thoughts on a null? Like, it's 12 points. How many times in a tournament do you have to turn off a push or a saber throw before you don't feel like you're wasting your 12 points?
I think if I were to speak up on this one, I think this is actually the worst card in this whole entire card pack
I would agree.
because like it's 12 points, right? And
Mhm.
everyone's like, "Oh, but you can turn off a force push." Okay, what if you don't play against any force
Right.
users throughout a whole tournament? Then you just wasted your 12 points in a force slot. And, um
Or it's force users that don't really have powers on them that are worth
yeah,
stopping.
like I could see this being okay if the meta in a general sense, if list building starts transitioning more to having a force user in your army, then maybe. But I think this is like one of the only upgrades in this whole pack that gets tabled.
So actually, let's talk about that. I think with the advent of all these new Force upgrades, maybe people will want to play more Force characters, and then Annul existing in this pack is them printing Counterspell next to Lightning Bolt, right? Like they're going, hey,
Mhm.
here's all these cool new things. Bring Jedi. Also, here's a way for someone to mess with your Jedi. The fact that it's range 2, the fact that it's optional. Yeah, I agree with you. It's, oh, I didn't play against any Force users all day. That sucks. But on the other hand, sometimes you bring impact grenades and you don't play against anyone with armor.
Yeah, but impact grenades is 3 points.
But you never bring one. How often do you bring
True.
one impact grenade unit? Like you're gonna bring like 3.
Me,
All right,
me.
Sam. Put your hand down, Sam.
When you
But
well, it used to be when you had the spare points. One thing that I did forget to shout out about this card pack that I really like are those specific weapons upgrades for 3 points. I think those are fantastic. And as opposed to sitting there like, hey, I've got impact grenades, anti-tank munitions. I think all three of those are actually pretty solid upgrades. And to your point, Dave, I'll take that over impact grenade.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a perfect transition into the next topic, under card pack 2. The discussion on these cheap one-time use upgrades that they decided to print. So tank hunting munitions, the overcharge blaster packs, hit the dirt, these one-time use upgrades that are only 3 points but have powerful effects. I think these are great because I know, like, when I've list build before in the past, I would have like a stray 3 to 6 points in my list, and I'm just sitting here like, what do I bring that's going to be meaningful to my list? Maybe an Into the Fray on this unit. I don't know. An E gear on this unit. All right. An O push here. Sure. But with the introduction of these one-time use upgrades, it kind of also lets you spec into, getting impact in your list without necessarily having to take impact grenades on those units that could really benefit from having the impact at range, or putting overcharged blaster packs on a unit that already has suppressive, so now you're throwing out 3 suppression on something when you hit them with the overwhelm and suppressive, right? Or hit the dirt. I looked at hit the dirt and I immediately thought rebels. I'm like, holy moly, rebels are going to love this card. Cassian super fleets, sleeper cell, commandos, they're going to love this card. I even, Wookiees, like the Chewy Wooks, like having hit the dirt on the way in.
Why do you think I started prepping more Wookiee?
Just hit the dirt on all of them.
I saw hit the dirt. I was like, Wookiees can hit the dirt. Like, it's fine.
And like, I know this specific upgrade that I'm about to mention isn't really a one-time use, but it is a limited upgrade with the superior equipment. You can only take 2 of them. It's a little expensive. It's 15 points. But depending where you apply it, it can be very strong. Like, I've been toying around with the idea of Chewy Wookiees with superior equipment, and now they're upgrading 6 dice on defense to 6 red saves with access to surges from like Padme or Yoda. And then they also have hit the dirt, and it's like, okay, you can waste your one big shot into these Wookiees. You did 2 damage. You didn't even kill a model. Congratulations.
What would it take you? What would it take for you to spend the hit against that unit? Like, what's gonna make you trigger it?
Probably anything that's like 9 plus coming into me.
So like super squad attacks, basically.
Yeah, super squad attacks, or like super shores. The new Paz squad from Mandos that throws like 16 dice on turn 1.
So if you're thinking you'll lose, in the case of Wookiees, if you're going to lose half the squad.
Yeah, if like statistically you would be pushing through enough saves where I'd probably lose like at least a model and a half.
Okay, makes sense. So 7 plus hit space.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because here's my thought about it was, I get the value, right? Hit the dirt is an amazing card in that way. It's cheap, it's effective, it's a one-time use. But the math has to bear out. Like, if you're getting shot at by a bunch of 5 model squads with a heavy one, let's take your basic Stormtrooper DLT or Stormtrooper RT-97C's DLTs don't quote-unquote eat. It's an 8-die attack, 3 to 4 hits come through. Are you spending the hit the dirt on your first 4-hit attack coming through?
No, it also really depends on the situation, right? Because what if I haven't had to use it, but then there's like a situation where maybe I'm down to like my last model and a half, or my last model, and you hit me with enough where I could probably lose this one model, and I'd be like on a point or something, and I wouldn't score it anymore if I die. Then like a situation like that would also be useful with hit the dirt. It's like, okay, you thought you were going to kill this one Wookiee that was left alive. Well, now he's taken 1 and he's still holding this point.
I agree. I think a good way to equate hit the dirt is like Catan armor.
Yeah.
You can nickel and dime around it, but your opponent has to decide what makes it worth it for them to use.
Right.
I think it's the best design card in this whole pack, in my opinion.
Hit the dirt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
because
pretty good.
anything that gives players this level of agency, decision making, because it gives both players, they have hit the dirt. I shouldn't send my crazy awesome attacks into it because he's just gonna hit the dirt and negate 3/4 of my 3/6 of my attack right out the gate. Or you get the idea, right? Like, it becomes a game of cat and mouse of, can I force him to use this upgrade without blowing a really massive attack on it? Or, man, I should really use it now to really save myself from getting this extra wound and losing that model because Chewie's buffing the rest of the squad in this specific game. So it's like, it's adding agency to both sides for 3 points. I love it so much.
I also love how thematic that droids
right?
Yeah.
self-preservation. Nah.
Could you imagine like hit the dirt on like a Super B1 squad?
I can, and I hate it.
Oh
And
man.
even agile climber, like it's a tap, but realistically you're probably only using it once. But just the mobility addition.
I thought Agile Climber was a once per game because it's also only
No,
3 points.
no, it's a tap. You
Oh, it
can
is a
ready
tap.
it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Which admittedly there's room to say like, hey, how often is a recover that valuable? Sure, whatever. But I guess to me, I want to lump it in with those single shots because I think from a practicality sense, you're probably using it once. But for a one-time use, how many times would you appreciate having jump light on a
Oh yeah, like I remember I had it in the last tournament that we did. I actually had it on my melee Wookiee squad,
oh,
and
jeez.
being able you literally stopped me in our game from using it because I threatened going like straight through a building speed 2 and charging Thrawn, and you're like I have to charge this with your super snow with Callus,
Ah,
or
yes.
else or else Thrawn's gonna get charged by these Wookiees on turn 2 that are hiding behind a building.
And I
So
had to make that decision knowing how mobile those Wookiees could be. And the
yeah.
funny thing with Wookiees is, if I remember, they have scale. So the idea of like, I don't care what building is, unless you've got a low fall
Height 3
spire
building.
in the way.
Right. But yeah. And then I guess before we hit fire control and battle mind as a conversation, what are I know you guys aren't really droid players, but what are your thoughts on the adaptive combat network?
What does
Too
that do?
strong? Not strong. So what it
That's
does is it only goes on troopers, you can't put it on vehicles, and it takes up the I think it's the comms slot
yes.
on those
Yeah.
units. And it's essentially you can have any number of them in your army, and the when a unit when a unit takes a wound and they have that upgrade, you can tap any number of the other ones in your army, and all of those units that tap theirs get an aim.
How many points is it?
4 points.
Bro.
Kind
Okay.
of, because it's not 4, it's 8. Because if you take one of it, it does nothing.
Yeah, yeah. You only start getting value once you get that second copy
Is it
of it.
just better binoculars for them? Instead of an action, you take a wound and everyone gets an aim?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just the conversation of like, do you want to be spending 36 to 40 points in your
I
list to
I think
give?
it's either you give everybody it, or you give like 3 things it. Like you take a unit that you know is going to get shot a lot, you give it to them, and then you give like 2 fire support units, the matching side, so that when they shoot your tank, then like your hammer is able to do something.
I've heard you put it on exemplar unit at that point, so that then the
Mm.
bait unit is taking the wound. The exemplar unit, here's the aims for, and
It doesn't even have to expose itself.
yeah, and I like that a lot. Also, an important note to put on this card is it readies itself at the end phase.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah,
gonna say it's like a one-time use, but that's even better.
no. They're available every single turn.
So I think that's the answer. You put it on your. I think like you take like a fat B2 squad that you know is just gonna soak a lot of fire, and then you give it to all your exemplar models.
So I was thinking this is your way to get your aim back on like your aquas because they lost the ability to take link targeting array because they're not vehicles anymore. Being able to put these on droidicas who really like early game, like trying to move and shoot and
Right.
get into position. Again, you can put this on like Kalani. You can put it on the custom operative who has aid, so he would get an aim and then just like kick it over to Kalani to exemplar out. So I think that you're looking that this is probably going to be more like you take like 4 or 5 of them kind of upgrade.
Makes sense.
Depending on what your list looks like, I don't think you spam this on everything because if you spam it on everything, you're literally like going down a whole activation just to take a free aim on everybody every round, which could be worth it. I don't know. We'll have to
I'm
see
sorry.
how it pans out.
Did you say only a free aim on everybody every round? Did I hear that correctly?
Listen,
Only a free aim.
Thrawn by himself generates enough aims on his own to already outweigh what this card is doing.
So I mean, like if you have them on every unit, like Colin said, that's basically a whole activation. But if you bring too few of them, then it becomes thin that they can potentially just not engage with. So I think you're probably right. It's probably 4 to 6 units. You want to make sure that they can't just ignore your upgrade points, but you don't want to spend 40, 50.
Colin, what's
Yeah,
the
it's
silly card that I want to combine the silicon card? Is it one? It's one of the generics.
Are you talking about the tactical download?
No, what's the CIS card that when someone spends a name, somebody else gets?
Oh, that's the Battle Force. That's the Battle Force
Invasion?
one. Invasion, the
Oh,
invasion, Separatist invasion Battle Force card.
okay, that's why I couldn't like. To me, this card seems like kind of an amazing way to kick that chain off.
Yeah, pretty
But
much.
yeah,
But yeah, I figured I'd kind of just like throw that one in there before we get to the heated topic of discussion.
We can't ignore the funniest of the upgrades.
Oh, which one is that?
Squadron leader for
Oh, jeez.
bikes.
No, I think
It's
this.
so
I
it's
think
not
this
good,
upgrade
but
is
it's
a trap.
funny.
I think it's a trap. It's cute.
Yep.
I think it's a
So,
trap.
so let's talk about that for just 1 second. So Blizzard Force can still take 4 bikes, right?
Yes.
Squadron lead
Yeah.
is limited, so you
Yes.
can't do that.
Oh, it is.
No, what I'm
it
saying
a
is,
unique.
but is it?
you only put it on one.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But
Carry
is
on.
it added as? Has it been added to the dock?
I don't know. I know some
I
of
know
them
that
have
the
squadron leader,
Wheelo
but
can take it because I
Yeah,
know
the-
it's specifically in the Battle Force. I think they were talking about it on Nerf Herders, where it's not
yeah, I
really
think
worth
so.
taking. But to me, like honestly, thematically, I love the idea of like you don't want your tanks together in that Battle Force. Obviously, they're all like taking up all of the points across the table. But if you're just wanting to have a good time, you're like, here's my strafing run, and here's all my here's
Just
all my Wheelos.
taking up a quarter of a map strafing run.
Yeah, here's my 12x8 box of models. Like I am the
man.
quadrant.
I don't see it on Tabletop Admiral, so I'm going to assume that you can't take it in
Dang.
Blizzard Force.
All right.
212 can bring it
Oh,
for your triple tanks.
triple ATRTs.
Yes.
Can they take ATRTs?
Yeah,
They can
they
take
can.
Yeah, they can also
Just have the
take
ATRTs running off doing their thing together with a free token.
I'll try it once.
All right, guys. The big bad, the elephant in the room, the card that probably shouldn't exist in its current form, fire control.
Infantry
This card, the infantry support. No, fire control. This card's just not okay. After playing against it and with it, this is just the most bonkers card I've ever seen in my life for 5 points in this game, and I really hope it gets changed soon.
I'm not someone who's prone to exaggerate and like, oh, card is nerfed, card is banned, ban worthy. And you guys have played games with me for a lot of years. Sam's played games with me for 10 years. Sam, when have I ever said, oh, this is absolutely broken and needs to be changed?
It's probably something in X-Wing. So
Right? And that's
many
because I
moons
was like,
ago.
yes. And I'm like, they need
Yep.
to do that. But that was a company that wasn't really making miniature games. So let's not get too
Yeah.
hot take. Sorry. Anyways, I looked at this card and I went, I don't have to even play with this card to know how insanely ridiculous we can do it. We can upgrade 8 dice in 1 activation with Death Trap.
I can do it
I
pretty
played
easily.
it. So Collin and I both used it the last tournament, and Collin used it well. I put it on Bo-Katan next to 2 squads of Kreese vets, so they were on their own in a separate corner from the rest of my army. Just those 2 units getting the upgrade and occasionally split firing and getting more use out of the upgrade. Best 5 points in the army, and that's not using it well. Collin, what debauchery were you doing with it?
Oh god, dude. Do you like an ISP going from 2 red, 2 white to 2 red, 2 black on 3 targets?
Yeah,
It's really good. And also it's range 4 and you can beam past range 4. And all I have to do with my fire control person is see you from range 8 across the map.
It's a shame that crate got in your way on our game.
Yeah, I know that's stupid great. But like, you know, I already have so many examples of this card just being insane. Being able to re-upgrade dice from cumbersome after you move. Bosk would love that standing next to this upgrade, like going from a red 4 white to a red 2 black 2 white surge to crit. Insane. Shooty Wooks. I just gave an example earlier before we started. You have Chewie with Shooty Wooks next to Battle Mind and Fire Control, and you go from 1 red 8 white to 1 red 8 black. Surge to hit, sharp 1. And then like
Well,
the
even-
lat, like it's just it's an insane card for 5
Well,
points.
Even Zeff's example of the split fire, the fact that it works, that it's accommodating to split fire is very wild.
Squad of Kreese vets. It's not probably ever mathematically correct, but you can get the upgrade used 3 times on one activation if they use their pistols, their rifles, and their heavy weapon. Like that right there is worth your 5 points.
Well, like think about this, like standing next to a Wheelo that has door gunners and frenzied gunner.
Yep.
You're split firing 3 ways, you're upgating 6 dice, you're adding 3 dice to your pools. Like for 5, like sure, you can only take one, but there's a lot of like armies that have very cheap and or efficient models that can take this. Like I've been putting it on Padme with Strike Team Leader. It's 65 points for that model. You could like in Rebels, you could just like throw it on Lando and keep him incognito for the whole game, and now you can never touch my fire support holder, or standing next to Thrawn, or a Tarkin that's using pull the strings on a shore trooper squad that's now double tapping with upgraded dice. Like I just think I don't understand how this card made it past the design stage.
So I have a I have a I have a perspective on this from other games, and this is at other AMG games. So I know everyone in AMG listens to this podcast every week. So I'm speaking directly to AMG. Look, in Shatterpoint, for those of our listeners who listen to who play Shatterpoint, Iden Versio's Inferno Squad support unit. Gideon had an ability basically. There was an ability where if there was an Inferno Squad model or type of model within range 5 and someone else was attacking them, it just added a dice, a successful hit result, right? And to me, upgrading 2 dice is effectively upgrading 4 faces of your dice. On average, it's about half an aim. It's truly that level, and they had to nerf Iden entire box severely to reduce that effect, and they changed it to where they upgrade one of the existing dice instead of adding a whole dice. In the situation we have here, where we're upgrading 2 dice per attack, not even per activation, and it's not even once per turn, or it's not even once per round, the fact that it's limitless, I would pay 50 points for this upgrade and still think it's a good upgrade.
It was like Battle Mind, and if it didn't buff yourself or melee, if it was just range attacks only, once per turn, would be worth 5 then.
I think if
that
I could use
seems
this,
on par.
I think if they kept it at 5 points and made it once per game where you burned it, I would still think it's worth it.
Yeah, so since we've started talking about like possible changes for it, then like Tristan, how would you change this card to make it not the way that it is now?
I would like it as a tap, and I think it should do one attack, not you wouldn't be able to do split fire shenanigans. I think it would be a tap, and then I would kind of like the ready itself. Improvised orders going to not readying itself sort of bums me out, but I do think you'd still bump up that point value, and I think 10 to 12 points pretty easily.
How would you fix it, Colin?
So the way that I would fix this card, so if they changed nothing about the card, it needs to be like 40 points. It is that it like force push is 40 points. And we already know how impactful force push can be in a game. This doesn't have the user doesn't have to be at range 1 of the opponent. So if I were to change this card, I would say up its points, probably to like 15 or 20. But then I think that the fire control holder needs to be within like range 3 of the target, because the fact that like I can just sit in a spot on the map, and if I have the range with my unit and I can just see you from like range 7 away. I think I did the math on this. If you have a unit that shoots range 4, the fire control holder can be like almost range 7 away from the target, and you'd upgrade your dice. And it's just insane to me. Like the fact that there isn't a minimum range requirement for the holder, even like range 4, right? Because then at least they can be shot back by stuff. But I also maybe would have rather had this limited to commander only. Like only commanders can take it, because then you won't have because then you won't have these like cheapo operatives like a Padme or a custom rebel officer or something that can just like sit in the back and not only support the army that it's backing up with bolster actions or stuff like that, but also increasing their output by pretty much a whole hit on average. Is, I don't know. If they don't change anything about this card, it needs to be like 40 points. But I hope that they do actually errata the card and not just go the lazy route of making its points so expensive that you need to now consider not taking it. Like some people are not even taking force push anymore.
I did love the way Colin, you had Padme starting on one side, shooting on that side of the book to the other side of the book, where then the army over there could take.
Yeah.
I
thought that was
have
a
the
very
cleanest
good use
solution.
of it.
The cleanest solution because it's going to add a limitation. It's going to add an activation sequence. I wish Fire Control said, after this unit makes an attack targeting an enemy unit, tap this card, put a marker on the target. All range attacks targeting this squad upgrade 2 or their dice for the rest of this turn. And now it still has the scope of being this high value card, but it's like he's marking, or Padme, she's marking the target with her attack, and now everyone's focused fire on that. And to me, it eliminates the split fire because you can't split fire against the same target with one unit. It eliminates it's just always on. It adds the limitation of I can pop out, shoot something, and go hide if I'm someone who has steady or relentless or whatever. So I can still protect the person, but it cost me an action to do the thing. It adds a cost, it adds a limitation, and it adds a range. And I keep it at 5 points.
What about you, Sam? How would you change this card?
Oh, my thoughts on this are a little bit tainted by the fact that it exists, right? Because my initial thought is if you make it like Battle Mind, where it taps and then at the end of your activation it untaps, then I mean Battle Mind is mostly better. Battle Mind can't buff vehicles, but it can buff yourself, it can buff melee, it doesn't need to be able to see what you're battle minding. It just you have to be within one of the person with it. But fire control can also buff vehicles. So I think if they both had the same tap and untap timing, the 5 to 8 is probably fair. But if we're no longer looking at the super busted fire control, should Battle Mind cost more? But I don't know. But I think if you just made it tap and untap like Battle Mind, I think 5 points would be fine.
I think the comparison's on, a little unrealistic because the people who have access to Battle Mind are generally a 100-point unit, right?
Yeah.
And it's taking up a very expensive slot, the 4th slot.
Yes.
So I think
True.
there's added inherent costs behind that 8-point cost that you're paying for.
Right. There's the opportunity, the very large opportunity cost versus just slapping it on Padme or any
Imperial
random
agent.
cheap commander thing. Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, we all have definitely expressed gripes on this card, and we just hope that maybe AMG will soon change it and not wait a whole year before they do anything with this card. But I have a feeling that they're going to see how silly this card's going to get, and they'll probably make adjustments to it accordingly. But we'll go ahead and
Can I circle back to a prior card?
yeah, we can do that real quick before we get
Okay.
to the Jedi Council.
The answer is going to be no. Pretty sure. But scrolling through the Battle Force docs, Rapid Interdiction Force gets Squadron Leader.
Still bad.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, carry on.
Still bad.
Oh, oh,
Dude, those wheel bikes get 2-shot. You're now painting an even bigger target on your already not durable
Separatist
6 health
Invasion
unit.
Force got it too for, I
Ooh.
guess, your stabs or something. I don't know.
Oh, even worse. All right. Well, so overall, I think all of our feelings, aside from Fire Control, are like this was a very great pack, and
Absolutely.
we're excited to be playing it. So
Absolutely.
now we're gonna
a lot
go
of love for
ahead
the AMG guys, but sometimes criticism is also a way of showing love.
Yep. But so we're gonna go ahead and quickly do a discussion on the Jedi Council that's coming out at the end of August. So we got all of their cards, we got their points, we got their slots, we got their unit upgrade cards. So I kind of am thinking like, is Gar coming back on top with this pack? Or yes or no? My opinion of it is like maybe there's some strong stuff that are going to come out with this. I think it's going to make it so Gar has a lot more building versatility.
Yes.
I mean, you added 4 characters, right? Instantly, like this is going to do the same thing that High Command did for Imperial.
Yeah, but like I like that all 4 of these characters do vastly different things. It felt like the Imperial High Command pack, aside from like Krennic, who we already had, like the other 3 kind of semi do the same thing. They just sit in the back supporting the army. But all 4 of these new Jedi Council members all do vastly different things.
Tron knows Kung Fu.
That, and not only do they all do vastly different things, but they're all also unit upgrades. Which honestly, I find the unit upgrade versions almost more interesting. But so that's like 8 ways to use these people.
And I like that the unit upgrades aren't limited to a specific type of rank. They're just clone trooper.
Mhm.
So, and then you have Shock T who can go in mercenaries.
Sam, you're a Resident Republic player.
So there's a lot going on them. I mean, they're all a 3 courage, which is just by itself a huge buff. Mace is a beat stick. Vapod is not as exciting as people were hoping, but I think everybody kind of assumed it was going to be kind of somewhat it is. But he hits really hard. Like
I don't know, man.
really hard.
He actually doesn't hit statistically as hard as you think. Shock T does more damage than him, and even like on average,
Should have the white in there. Yeah.
yeah, and like on average, a 60, almost like a 40 point cheaper custom hits harder than he does.
He also has Surge Defend, which I mean that matters in melee. He has Charge, which is great. That's like I think they all have Charge, right? So it's another 4 Jedi that have Charge, which Charge is super great. It means you don't necessarily need to take Saber. Windu does have that Force Crush though, which is kind of gross.
Immobilized on a unit to me is a slept on ability.
And Blast and like just all the keywords. And 4 black, so it's probably hitting. I really like Plo? I really like Plo as a unit upgrade. Force barrier for everything is ridiculous.
Oh, trust me, as someone who play tested him in the last tournament, that upgrade is insane for 22 points.
It was
like
obnoxious.
Like you throw him on a unit of arcs, and then all of a sudden that arc unit just becomes so hard to kill.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like a big problem with like those types of squads is like your opponent would just like throw like a random 4 or 5 dice attack into the squad, and then you just like make a bad save roll of like 2 dice, and you just like lose 2 models for like a piddly little shot. And now you can kind of ignore those plink shots. You can run that unit into a force user and make them like almost do nothing because you're taking 2 off the top in melee, which Tristan didn't realize that it worked in melee, and he charged him with riots, and he handed me like 4 saves, and I was like, blow 2 of them away. And he's like, oh, that works in melee? And I'm like, yeah, it does. So like a Jedi, like running them into a Jedi, they have immune melee pierce, and you're just like,
beat them to death. Yeah.
You took advantage of the fact that I can't read and I have to wait for other people to explain these cards.
Most of their command cards are pretty cool. Windu's is it's good. It's the most boring of all of them. My favorite's Wisdom of the Council, just because I'm a sucker for a lottery effect. But no, they're I haven't had a lot of time to really dig into them. I've kind of list built a little bit with Windu just because I want to be offensive to clone commandos and run a bunch of them with him. And I've looked at Plo replacing like Ahsoka in a super murder squad. But their prices seem really competitive for how many keywords and abilities.
I mean, Plo especially. God, 105 points for that guy, and he has more text on his card than Thrawn does.
Yep.
Is that impressive?
That's crazy.
Like, and he's got a lightsaber.
And he does have a lightsaber. Now the big problem.
Lightsaber.
Yeah. Now the big problem with all of their upgrade variants is that they don't give the unit innate charge. So that's why I'm kind of like looking at those unit leader upgrades more for tailored towards arcs rather than anything else. Because like the arcs already have charge, and then you get to use that. They all have like pretty good lightsaber profiles in melee.
And good,
they're
bad,
all
and different.
Impact 2, Pierce 1. Yeah.
Whether or not it's good, I love the design space of Shock T adding to a mercenary squad. Like just the fact that exists is pretty.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Shock T would take up the heavy slot, to be honest, because she takes up a personnel slot, so you can't like super squad a mercenary unit and have her in it. Their super squad's a personnel slot.
Yeah, and they have 2 personnel slots.
Oh, they do have 2 personnel slots. I was thinking more for like pikes, like super pikes.
Well, I was looking at pirate.
I don't know, man. Pirates without relentless is a hard sell.
Do they lose?
They have charge innately.
Yeah,
sure.
That's actually literally your argument about why they need to go arcs.
But they're also white saves, so they die so much faster.
But you can still make them fat, and you can hide them. and you can help like hand them over a building, and now all of a sudden, wait, can you still deploy them in a tank
Yes.
with her?
Yes.
Yeah, she doesn't have the sense for moving that.
You might just get a
Not-
turn one charge with them.
You can deploy
Wait.
anything in a transport. It does.
Not-
Affiliation
not
doesn't
super-
matter.
Not fat
Wait,
squads usually.
Super squads can't.
Well, the Pike and the Pirate ones specifically say that you can.
Right, but that's the rarity.
Well, but pirates, it has to be the same affiliation, and she changes the. So I guess you can do
Ah.
that, right? Like you can
Does she?
work around it.
No, I don't think she changes the affiliation. She just lets they lose self-preservation.
Yeah, she
And
doesn't
then-
change it.
Oh,
Unless the rules say if you add a different faction upgrade,
see.
which I don't. She
No,
can
I
only be
don't.
brought in a Gar army because she doesn't have any unit restrictions.
that's
No, I'm super excited for this pack when it comes out. It'll shake up a lot of stuff for Gar and their list building and stuff going forward. Like, could you imagine like a Plo Koon, Obi-Wan,
Jeez.
what am I thinking? Like another like generic force user, and you just have like all of them have like barrier and absorb, and you have that one turn with Plo where he distracts like 3 things, and you're just like shoot me
Yen.
with Xian mastery.
Oh,
By
he's
the
just
way-
showing up Han at his own job.
Exactly.
One of the things that I do like about with the Shock T and Pikes, Pierce with immobilized excites me. Like that's
Oh, you're like thinking about like taking her in like a whip
yeah.
squad. Yeah.
If I can almost guarantee that you're not going when I bury into melee, exciting. And that's 74 points.
That's pretty good for 74 points.
Right? Like if I can lock something down, if I can lock down Cassian, sure. Like
And
I
then,
get the
and then you
Pierce
give them
doesn't work on everything, but
and then you give them hit the dirt so they can survive the approach.
also that
And they
is
don't have
4
self-preservation
red.
anymore, so they get the courage bubble.
Yep. And it's 4 reds with her and the heavy.
Yeah.
So
That's good stuff.
yeah.
That's so good. So much awesomeness.
I think we
But
can agree
we're,
that it's coming from a place of yes, AMG took some time spinning up the Legion stuff for us, but man, we are spoiled right now. We are just getting release after release. We're getting new releases. We got a whole secret army. We're getting all these cool new characters for all these different factions. They're just showering us like, "Hey, sorry we neglected you for 2 years. Baby, take me back."
Counterpoint didn't work out the way we hoped.
Whoa,
Yeah, right.
too mean.
Sorry.
B2 rocket droids.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to those. Don't worry. If I were to rank the Jedi Council members in terms of best to worst, I think I would put Plo first, Shakti second, Kiadi third, and I'm sorry, Sam, I'm not as high on
Racist.
Mace as you are. I think personally, I think Mace is cheeks. I think he's not great. But that's a
probably
personal
is.
opinion. Because like you just pay 5 more points and take Anakin. Just do that if you want a beat stick.
Yeah. But
Like-
Anakin's not on the council.
Yep, he's
He's-
not a
he
master.
is-
Neither's Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's not on the council either, which upsets me.
Oh, I really hope that they like adjust Obi-Wan and Yoda's titles to be Jedi Council.
We'll just make new versions. It'll be fine.
But yeah, I don't know. I also I was having a conversation with Zafar before the cast, and we were just talking about like Compel on Mace, and I'm like, I just don't think Compel is worth it in this army at all.
It feels
mean,
less
I hear you.
valuable in a courage to me, right?
I would argue the opposite. I
Yeah.
would say that if something got shot, especially with the addition of Overwhelm, with the snipers being overwhelming, Mando's got a bunch of overwhelm weapons. We're getting anti-personnel, whatever the thing, the full blaster packs, right? We're getting more ways to put 2 suppression out in a shot. And if you're like, man, I need to move, do this thing, and I have 2 courage, and I failed it this one time I really needed it because I wasn't expecting to get shot with a suppressive weapon, you're going to be like, man, I'm so happy I had that Compel.
So
It does
Again,
really
my-
suck when a shotgun super squad only has 1 action.
yeah, but like again, my argument is like the fact that it's Compel Core Trooper is what
Yeah.
is terrible to me. If it was Compel any trooper, I would say like, okay, fine, it's good. But Mace wants to be up in your opponent's face, and Compel is incentivizing you to stay back and assisting your army that's being shot up and getting suppressed.
Actually, that's not true. Compel is used, in my opinion, as a good mid board card upgrade title keyword because it's where your leader is taking your army, right? It's the ones that are moving up that generally get shot more than the guys hiding out in the back.
Well, if you look at the core options for Gar, you have the marksmen who want to be range 4. They only move speed 1. You have clone infantry squads who most of the time are only being taken without upgrades just to be used as token batteries. And if you are seeing them up in the front lines, it's usually like super squads. So more often than not, a super squad doesn't end up getting suppressed and doesn't need the compel. And then your other options are just mercenaries who all are white saves, and like if they get shot twice, if they're getting shot twice or shot by a meaningful suppressive shot, they're probably just almost dead anyway.
It's fair. Unless you're getting
So-
like split fired by a fire control weapon with a bunch of random other stuff.
Yeah. Now, like if I would have much rather I much would have rather preferred it be compel trooper, because the amount of times I've had like arcs lose actions from being suppressed and I can't get to the place that I need to be for like a charge or a move shoot is way too many times. But
I don't blame you.
so
there.
I don't know. I just don't see the value in Mace in both the unit and the unit upgrade spheres, but I think all the other three we're going to see plenty of. So, but any other quick comments on the Jedi Council before we get to Rocket P2 speculation?
Yes. I think Mace fills a very important role, which is it eliminates Anakin fatigue for the players. And I know that sounds like a joke, but the reality is people are just like, man, I want another beat stick. I'm tired of playing Anakin all the time. Mace fits that role pretty well.
For 40 less points, you can take a custom Jedi that you can just make a beat stick.
Look, we just need more representation in Star Wars, okay?
I
So
I
you
do
just
wish there
run
were-
Mace and Yoda together, and you just suppress everybody with your really expensive Jedi, the most inefficient way
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Just like in the movies.
Yes.
350 points of suppressive
Yeah.
on ranged
perfect.
attacks that are
Yep.
range 2.
It's like 2 ATSTs right there.
Oh, heck yeah.
I
all
do
right.
wish that the council came with more of that.
Yeah. Each of them
Uh,
only having one named command card was a little poopy.
I think some more command cards, and I'd be really excited about this pack. As it is, I'm excited, and I'm actually looking forward to fielding Mace. But it's partially because someone snuck me those cards earlier this year, the plastic Mace
Adepticon.
card.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got to use that.
That's fair. All right. So on to our last topic of discussion. And this will probably just be a quick one. Rocket B2s. Out of nowhere, coming out of literally flying in from outside the stadium. They just randomly got put on the pre-order site for September, and they come out the same day as the separatist leaders, who we still pretty much know nothing about Trench. We know quite a bit about Savage. We just don't know his points and his slots. But I kind of wanted to just jump in and like do a little bit of speculation and what is like one or two things that each of us would like to see the unit do. So I'll go ahead and start this one, being the mostly resident CIS player out of the 4. So I think, so they already said that this is going to be a heavy unit. It has, I think, 7 models in the box. So it's probably going to be a base 4-man unit. I actually think it might have 2 heavy slots. It's going to be probably very similar to Dark Troopers, where you have the 2 legitimate heavies and then you have an extra dude that just counts as a heavy slot. And we know that one of them is the B2 HA. So it's probably going to be very similar to the one that we currently have for the core option. But I'm super excited to see what the rocket pod arms are going to do. And I think this is going to be our first sighting of a unit naturally having anti-personnel or anti-material.
Okay. I could buy
Because
that.
like anti-infantry cluster rocket kind of thing.
yeah, because we saw the anti-material and anti-personnel keywords get added to the core rulebook doc like a long time ago, it feels like at this point, like at least 6 months ago, and we had no idea what it was going to do. Well, now we have the We have them on those 2 3-point upgrades that are coming out in this upgrade pack. But I think the Rocket B2s are going to be our first. This unit on a model naturally has one of these 2 keywords, and I'm really hoping that's the case because I'd be super excited for these. They're probably going to like be like 100 points baseline, or like probably in like the 90 range baseline, and then they'll probably end up being like a similar cost to Dark Troopers, if I were to guess. I just hope that they don't have Unstoppable. I don't want them to be just the CIS version of Dark Troopers.
I mean, I can definitely say with 100% confidence they're gonna have jump.
Well, they're probably gonna have jump 1. They're probably gonna be speed 2. Do we think that they're gonna have infiltrate because they're coming in from the sky type deal?
I mean, I could see them having a. You know what would be cool if they had an ability where they don't show up until turn 2.
Mm.
Kind of like, are you talking about like 1.0 infiltrate?
Yeah,
The
or
mission
like the mission the support the card that said they deploy. They only just they can deploy anywhere within range 2. Kind of, I know there's a Dark Trooper command card that does that, but it's almost like, I hate to use the word deep strike because we all know what that connotates, but they just show up outside of range on turn 1 with no attacks. You can just deploy them anywhere, or you can deploy them normally. So it still gives you the option to do either.
So they only have 3 upgrade cards. So it's gonna be the 2 heavies and then the extra guy. So there's nothing fancy or special coming with them. So anything they do
programming,
is going to be
interesting.
on their card.
Okay.
I think you're thinking of rapid reinforcements
Yes, exactly. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
before.
Is this maybe going to be CIS's like first like true natural speed 3 unit other than Staps?
No, I don't think they're gonna be speed 3.
So yeah, I'm trying to think back to like the show. In the show, I think they only really showed up in space, but like they took out starfires in space and then like attacked a shuttle or something, right? So I mean, I don't remember them being harder to kill in media than the normal B2s. So I think they're going to be sturdier. I
They'll
don't
probably
think
have
they're
like a
gonna-
very similar stat line to the regular B2s. 2 health, 2
Yeah.
courage, AI attack.
I mean, if they're designed to be used in space, maybe speed 3. Feels like too wishful though. Like if I just gave B2 speed 3, I don't know. Only, right? Right.
So Tristan said something that triggered a thought. The new assault keyword that they spoiled for us, right? Where it's like they get to
Oh,
upgrade dice. They could just have that where they're upgrading dice against everybody. And I think you're right, Colin. I think they're gonna have anti-material.
Yeah, because they're gonna start putting that keyword on units.
Yep.
They're not just going to limit it to just the 2 3-point upgrades that we have. So I really think that this is going to be the first unit that we see naturally have it on one of their heavies, or even both. Maybe they just change the HA to being anti-material impact 2, and then
The other heavy.
the rocket pods could be anti-personnel.
I mean, I don't think you would want to give them both
keywords.
keywords, because if they give them both keywords, why not just give them a better dice pool, right? Why are you making it extra steps?
I don't know.
I like the idea
But-
of a player having to make that decision ahead of time.
Or maybe
Yeah,
one of
but
the
the
heavies
different
gives an
heavies.
anti-material. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, no, that's what I was saying. Like the HA heavy
Oh, gotcha.
versus
Okay,
the
yeah.
rocket pod
I
heavy.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. I can see that. That'd be cool. It looks like they still have wrist rockets, so their guns are
Have to
probably
watch out for
exactly the
those.
same, right? What do we think for their AI? Do we think they
It's
might
probably
be
gonna-
move
It's probably going to
instead
be
of
attack. No, they
AI
took
jump.
away AI jump. No, I think it's going to be AI attack because they did take AI move away from a couple of units. Like they took it away from the droidicas, I think, are only AI attack now. And then
BXs?
BXs do have move or dodge. The bikes don't even have the wheel bikes don't even have AI move. It's just AI dodge. The Staps are AI move or dodge. So I think there's only like two or three units with AI move. So
Hey,
I don't
just
think
figured
that
out
they're
the
gonna have
speed.
AI move.
I think I figured out the speed situation. So instead of giving them unstoppable, instead of making them speed 3, what if they just gave them a compulsory free move, kind of like a speeder move?
But then they would probably have to be like speed 1 at that point, right?
No, they can get you get a fixed bonus free move of speed 1 of some type every turn.
I mean,
So-
Geo
Just
so-
kind of hopping.
So kind of make it like the Geo free jump, but call it
But speed
something
1.
else.
They could just call it jet boost. You can tap it during. It's like a free ability on the squad if they're not hold. They could just give them that Geo ability, like reworded to make it fit for the droid's ability. But They have rocket boosters. They don't want to make them feel like just CIS Dark Troopers, like you said.
I mean, the
Give 'em a
Geonosis
free one.
abilities just jump 3 for free. So you could just give them like jump 1 or something.
Sold. I'd do that.
Do it.
That'd be
Give
cool.
It's done.
Zaffar's stamp of approval.
I've made it so.
Yep, exactly. Well, yeah, that was a very awesome discussion on everything. We took a lot of time talking about the upgrade pack, got some insight on Jedi Council and some speculation on B2s. So I'm very excited for all this new stuff that's coming out in the next couple months and how Legion is going to be shaking up. So we're going to go ahead and start landing this plane here. So I'm going to pass it over to Tristan to kind of go over upcoming events for the next few months.
One of the things that I'm looking forward to with Smite Club Open is that we have some prize support coming from AMG, and they gave this to us from the bottom of their hearts. It includes a dozen silhouettes, acrylic silhouettes that you used to be able to get from the 2025 GT packs. So I'm really looking forward to handing out those. And on top of that, our friend John Bushman is actually flying back out, and he's going to be streaming and broadcasting some of the games for us. That's going to be really cool for us to have because we haven't had that here in Arizona before, and it'll be great to have him again. After that,
It has been a while.
yes, so that'll be a good time. And then September 19th or 20th. Oh, it's going to be the 20th. We have another GG tournament at Tempe, and that's probably going to be our prep for LVO coming up in October, which is a big tournament for all of us. A lot of Phoenix guys, a lot of Arizona guys. We tend to go up to LVO in October, so that should be a good prep tournament for us. And then there's a note from Kevin that the Cali Cup is coming up in November. I know he posted a Discord link for it, but we didn't have the Longshanks, so I don't know the date on that one. But that's
Yeah,
what we've got
definitely.
coming in.
Definitely we'll have to be on the lookout for that one. So, but yeah, some exciting events coming up over the next few months for Legion. Super excited to be playing with all the new stuff coming out. So we're going to go ahead and the answer to the poll that we had last episode, the question was, what Mando clan are you going to be representing when Mandalorians come out? So we had 38% say Clan Ren, 23% said Clan Kryze, 15% were Saxon and the Customs, and then poor me, the only person in that whole entire poll said Children of the Watch. I'm the only Children of the Watch supporter, I guess.
You're an only
But-
child?
I'm an only child. So the new poll that we're going to have is going to be, is Legion starting to experience power creep with this upgrade pack that's going to be coming out and all the new units that are going to be coming out over the next 4 to 5 months? So we'll have that poll in our Discord and on our YouTube. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll be excited to see what people think. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, other podcast channels of your choice. Join us on Facebook in the Discord. Come see us on our game nights at GG Tempe or at North Phoenix if you're in the local area. And who knows, maybe you might run into us at upcoming events. We're going to be wearing our Inferno Squad merch, so you'll always be able to point us out in the crowds. So does anyone else have anything else to say before we sign off?
If you're at Gen Con, stay dry.
Right. All right. Thanks, you guys, for joining me on this episode. This is Inferno Squad signing off.
This has been Inferno Squad Chatter. Find us on Discord, Instagram, and Facebook to engage with our team.
Defiance will be the death of you.